Hello there fellow acolytes and welcome to Beyond the Moon Runes of Saturn. This is a new series of videos I've planned and it'll look at Japanese releases for the Sega Saturn, and I'm going to evaluate just how accessible they are for non-native speakers. I'll be focusing primarily on games that were exclusive to Japan, but I may cover other games as well, where the English version is quite expensive, like Deep Fear is probably a good example. Anyway, it won't be a translation guide, since I don't know any Japanese at all. But I'll share some of the knowledge that I've learned from the game through playing it, and hopefully that'll save you a little bit of time figuring out for yourself. So without further ado, let's get on to the first game, 2do Arukotowa Sandoahru. I've covered this on one of my Gems videos, and I consider it one of my favourite titles on the system. So this is definitely a game that's worth picking up, and let's have a look just how accessible it is. As you can see, when you start, you'll get the menu screen and everything's all in Japanese. Let's have a look through and see just how difficult it is to navigate. The final option, as you probably expect, is an options menu. So you've got background music, sound effects, and stereo on and off. That's all in English, so nothing too much to worry about there. But it's also nothing important as well. You'll probably never even touch that. The next option up is the option I'm going to be looking at now. When you click on it, it'll become very clear what it is. Here you can see all the minigames. There are quite a lot. I've not counted, so I don't know how many there are. But there are quite a few. You'll probably notice that everything's a 0. This is because my save is actually on my backup memory and not on my main memory. But for a game like this, it's honestly not important. So let's click on one of the titles. As you click on it, you get the level, easy, normal, super easy, super hard, hard, and you can choose whatever. Let's just choose normal and then start. When you're playing the main game, this is basically what will happen. Once you select your main game, you'll see the screen and it'll pop up a little box that gives you a little clue. And if you can see on this one, it says A and C. This gives you an indication that you need to use the A and C buttons. And you press A, nothing happens, press C, that happens. So what you've got to do is rotate. Go between A and C, and that does it. Very easy. If you notice at the bottom, there are 3 grey rectangles, and every time I succeeded, one of them got filled with, like, a hat, or a head and a hat. This means that you have to do the minigame 3 times in order to pass it. Some of them you may have to do once, some you may do twice. And those will basically tell you how many you need to do. So I've beaten the minigame, and it's given me options: retry, next game, or exit. If you exit, it exits back to the menu. There you go, and you can choose again. Very easy. Let's move on to something a little bit different. Monkey. This one is a little bit different because there's nothing that helps you with the controls. Again, I have the synopsis presumably, and then we have another box, but that doesn't say how to control it, so you have to work it out. As you can see, there's bananas at the top and you have a bunch of different ladders. What you've actually got to do is you've got to press the A button and tap the A button to climb the ladder. And of course you reach the top, you get the bananas. Very easy. Of course, one thing that you'll try to do when you do this minigame for the first time is that you'll go to the ladder, like so, and you'll press up, and nothing happens. Then you'll press other buttons, and eventually you'll press the A or C button, and you'll climb up the ladder. Then you move left and right, and you can see. This game, as I mentioned in the Gems video, is very much like WarioWare, so a lot of it is trying to work out what to do, and then doing it in a very short time scale. Okay, this one, maybe? Yeah, this is the one I thought. This one is a little bit more complicated and you kind of have to work it out. So this one, you have a picture. It's showing you that when the ball's coming towards you, if you hit it, that's bad. But if it's going away from you and you hit it, that's good. You've got an arrow that points to the big ball, and you have to hit it with this ball. So if you punch it like that, nothing much happens, but if you hit from the other directions, it goes further. So let's try this again. Whoops. There you go. So you hit a bunch of times, and it pops. Again, this is a mini game you have to do 3 times, but I'm not going to bother. As you can see, the mini games are all very simple, and there's very little you need to do. Sometimes you'll see the buttons on there, which will obviously help. Sometimes you'll see a little picture, like on that final one. Sometimes you get nothing, and you just have to figure it out. But the games are never very complicated. Anyway, the other 2 options, as you'll find out, are the main game modes. The first one is the main arcade mode, and you can choose easy, normal, hard. Again, let's just choose normal. It'll show you a silly cutscene where you're coming into the stage, and those are the people you have to fight. It says for the second person, press start, so again, this can be done with 2 players. It shows you the instructions in English. Even the life bar, again, in English. So nothing too difficult. So let's choose. It shows the option menu, they flash, you press the A button to select, as you would imagine. That doesn't take too long to figure out. Okay, this one, again, no clear instructions, you have to figure it out. It says help and you have a hammer, but then it says hit on the screen. As you imagine, you have to hit the blocks that contain the fire. Ta-da! As you can see, the next person is basically the same thing again. Underneath the person, you'll see 3. That means it takes 3 minigames to beat him. But I'm going to reset, because I'm going to show you the final mode. Okay, the final mode, it starts off pretty much the same as the previous one. At first, you'll think this is effectively the same mode, but it doesn't give you an option to do easy, normal or hard. You may notice that there's money at the bottom, and this is because the game is sort of like an RPG. Here we go, so you enter the shop and you can choose your weapon. I'm player 1, so I can only choose the whip, and player 2 will choose the mining, presumably. I've not played with the second player, so no idea. Anyway, now the guy has a whip, he can continue to beat bad guys. It's very similar to before. Again, they've got health under their character. That says 3, so it takes 3 minigames to beat him. And you'll probably notice that there's different things at the bottom, and they do different things. As you can imagine, the money one gives you extra money to buy stuff, and the other things do different things. So that one had 2 money bags, so I've gained 2 money. But yeah, anyway, that's the foundation of the game. So this one's an RPG. You can get different items and different weapons. So some will increase your hearts, some will give you extra lives, some will actually take off more health against the enemy, meaning that you can beat them a little bit faster. It's effectively the same as the main mode, just with a slight twist on it. Okay, so we've looked at 2do Arukotowa Sandoahru. I think that you'll probably agree that the game is very accessible to non-speakers of Japanese. It does contain Japanese, but not a lot of it's very important, and it does contain a sufficient amount of English to help ease you through the game and not feel too overwhelmed by how Japanese it is. The game as well is extremely cheap. As I mentioned in my gems video, it cost me about £5, which is extremely cheap for a Saturn game. And I've had a massive amount of fun. If you're a fan of the WarioWare series, then you'll probably enjoy this. I've only played in single player, but if you're willing to play multiplayer, then no doubt it's even more fun. This is definitely a recommendation, and it's definitely something that is not going to prove a problem with the language difference. Hope that's been helpful, and I'll see you next time for my next evaluation. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.